Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley Evidential Medium and Mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you.
Hello. Michael Edley Evidential Medium here with you, here with my co-host, Mary Amy. What is up, Mary Amy? How are you?
Hi, Michael. Nice to see you. Here we are. It's Thursday. It's March 19th. We just had a little holiday here. It's St. Patrick's Day. I didn't get a chance to celebrate. I don't know if you did. It's episode 85. It's all about otherworldly beings, which I know both of us have had experiences and encounters, and we have stories to tell.
We have otherworldly beings, and I think we have the whole extreme from aliens to angels to, I guess, everything that resides in the otherworldly realm. So we're going to have an interesting discussion for you tonight, talking about all aspects of that. And yeah, St. Patty's Day. I did not drink any green beer. What was funny is I didn't even realize it was St. Patty's Day until my wife told me, hey, yeah, today is St. Patty's Day. I've been just going. I've had so much going on, just involved in a bunch of projects. I've been doing a bunch of galleries, tons of private readings, group readings. So I was just caught up in the zone, and St. Patty's Day almost passed me by.
I am really focused on the book, of course, and I am excited about our upcoming event, April 2nd in Pelham, New York at the Manor Club. It's at 7 o'clock to 9:30 p.m. and it's about psychic abilities. It's about spiritual connections. It's an awakening. Michael's going to give mediumship readings. I'm going to give intuitive psychic readings. I'm also going to give a visualization. I've been promoting it. I've been plastering it everywhere I can in Westchester. So if you are in the vicinity of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, you can meet us in person. It's in a theater. It's a beautiful place, the Manor Club. And it's 1023 Esplanade, Pelham, New York. You can Google that, 10803, and buy a ticket. It's $35 for a ticket. It's $40 at the door. I hope we see you there. We're going to have a little bit of a meet and greet at some point. Anyone in the audience would like to meet us, they can. And we have that event. I also want to remind everyone that Michael has an event April 18th, and it's at the Women's Wellness Health Expo in Wayne, New Jersey.
Yes, the Bloom Expo.
It's what?
The Bloom Expo. Bloom Expo. Women's Wellness and Health Expo. Yes, and you'll be joining me there for our table and promoting Two Psychics, and anybody that wants to talk about what we do, we will be there to answer your questions. And I'll be taking everyone through a healing meditation and opening and aligning the chakra system, which is going to be pretty cool. I'll be taking everyone through a whole sound healing. And then I'll be doing some stuff down here at the Jersey Shore on the 25th and the 27th or 28th, I think. So jump onto my social media and I'll have any of that listed. Or if you're on my meetup, or if you're, follow any of the Facebook pages, it'll be on there. So check it out. Lots of stuff coming up. Yeah, have a big, and I just got finished last week working with the Emmanuel Cancer Foundation. So we did a very large fundraiser, and that raised tens of thousands of dollars for families and children that are dealing with cancer. So that was a really, really cool event to be a part of. And someone out there won a private reading with me and a small group reading. So I hope to hear from you. If you're watching this, I should hear from you soon. So that was fun.
this is, I'm excited to do this event with you because when our energy comes together, it seems to be powerful for me, the aftermath, during, and I guess someone who is touching in a different reality, we're going to get into a different dimension. We're going to talk about otherworldly beings, otherworldly realms. When I am in contact, physical contact, it's one thing when we do this online, like last week when we had the ladies on, we had Grace and Stacy, and a
Yes.
medium, a healer, psychic, and we are together, the four of us. It was fun, but it was interesting, our energy afterwards. And sometimes if we find in life, like everyone out there, when you find in life someone that you have a strong relatability with, where they resonate with you, what they do, how they are, maybe their personality, their energy, it brings you to another level. And I believe when I spend time with you, we've done some psychic events together, it takes me beyond where I am. And also constantly I'm trying to improve what I'm doing. It's not like I'm sitting on my laurels saying, okay, this is all happening to me, because you have to pay attention, because as we're going to talk about, when you hit some kind of entity, and it could be an entity that's dark, where you have contact or they connect to you, you have to be able to handle it. And we've talked about that because we've brought on guests, and sometimes it gets wonky because they have not cleared their space, or they're bringing something here to them, and they can transfer it through technology, through the airwaves. We can receive it, just like if someone hugs me and that night, if I haven't rubbed my hands with salt or saged myself, and not unknowingly, I've received something from them and it's not intentional, and then I'll
We're
wake
gonna
up.
dip you in a pool of crystals.
Yeah, I wake up and have some kind of crazy being that comes through. It's funny, today I was watching a podcast because I'm writing, and as I write, I need a distraction. So I'm listening to some kind of podcast, and this woman's talking about parasitic entities and when they attach themselves and what to do. And she said salt, which I always have done, which is what, after a show or I do readings and stuff, salt, table salt. I wash my hands in table salt. I put it on my bottom of my feet. And she said that, but also visualize salt coming down on you, like a shower of salt. Visualize it. She also said not only burn sage, she said burn the 3 gifts that were given to Jesus. Try to go get some of those herbs. She said they're very powerful. Have you heard that before, Michael?
Well, I mean, think about in a church when they're burning, they're burning the frankincense and myrrh. So very powerful natural herbs that can cleanse and purify the air. So I think that's had a long history of being used. We still see it in current times being used in the church. And I think one of the most important things we can do, though, I mean, that's all good and it's cool to kind of protect your energy. But I think the one thing, because I get asked this question a lot, and especially being a medium and connecting to divine realms, and people asking me, can demonic energy or can negative energy infiltrate that? And I think the one thing is, when we're doing this work at a very high level, like we've worked on ourselves, we've worked through a lot of our own stuff, we've gone through that dark night of the soul, and we try to keep our energy at a high vibration, and we're not focusing on the fear or the negative, that tends to just naturally repel a lot of the negative energy. A lot of, that can repel demonic energy, that can repel dark energy, that can repel someone's bad jujus that are connected to them. So I think the first thing we should all think about doing is truly just getting our own energy right and aligned, and really trying to stay at that high vibration. And when we're doing that, it's going to be really, really difficult for negative energy, regardless if that's just someone you're coming in contact with, if you're doing a session and there's something attached to someone that you're around, whatever it may be, if you're functioning at a very high vibration, it's going to be really, really difficult for negative energy to permeate your auric field. So that's the one thing, is everyone should really be trying to get their energetic vibration operating at a high level. And then in addition to that, we can incorporate the other cleansing things that we do, but I think it all begins with us and really working our own and aligning our own energy field to function at a high vibration. That alone can deter so much, because I've been asked this multiple times, and I've never been in a session where I've been worried or concerned about something evil infiltrating or permeating into that session. It has not happened. Early on, what I've experienced is just overextending my energy and running my energy down, and it just wore me out a little bit. And then the next day or two, I would just feel myself anxious around certain people, or I would pick up more of that energy, but that was because I depleted my own energy, and that brought my vibration down. So when I'm functioning at a very high vibration, I feel it's really, really difficult for something negative to permeate through that. So I think that should definitely be something everyone looks at. Everyone tries to approach their daily life. And then I think we just have to look at the environments that we're in, the people that we're surrounding ourselves with, the things that we're focusing our attention on. I know some people that literally they'll watch horror movies or they'll watch the news, and they absorb that energy because they haven't protected their energy or worked with their energy enough to repel that. And again, if you keep repeatedly exposing yourself to that, it's going to negatively affect you no matter how much you're working with your energy. So we all have to be very mindful of what we're consuming. What is the energy we're consuming? And I think we all know there's just certain people, and I appreciate you. I appreciate that, Mary, that I can help uplift your energy. And likewise, I think our energy can become a very powerful manifestation for good. But on the flip side, we have to be very aware of who we're surrounding ourselves with, because there's just certain people that their energy will wear you down. And a lot of times it'll happen without you even realizing it. So we have to be mindful of especially the 5 people that are closest to us. The 5 people that are closest to us, family, friends, significant other, we have to be really mindful of their energy. And, that's the first line of defense. Be very mindful of your energy. Be very mindful of the environments you're going into. Be very mindful of what you're consuming. Music, film, TV, whatever that may be. I do think beauty in and of itself, beautiful artwork, beautiful environments, nature, like there's certain things that just have a naturally higher vibrating resonance. And when we can surround ourselves with that, it absolutely helps keep us in that high vibrating energy cycle.
So when we focus in on ourselves and we're raising our vibration, it has to come from love. So we have to start with loving ourselves internally. So we are accepting ourselves, loving ourselves. A higher vibration, a higher consciousness comes from self-love, loving others, compassion, service to others, not service to self. That's how we raise it. If we're up here and we want our vibration to be high, our frequency to be high, it's got to be about love, kindness, compassion, service to others. Down here, if you're dealing with lower vibrations, it's shame, anger, hate. You're not going to be able to ward off anything negative. If you're living down here, you're attracting it. You're not going to attract anything positive if you are going through something. So when you're going through something, and it might be a traumatic event where you're weaker, you're more vulnerable, you want to protect yourself. And how are you going to protect yourself? Well, you're going to isolate yourself. And like Michael said, you're going to focus on yourself. You're going to focus on what's going on with you. How does your heart feel? How's your day going? Spend time in nature. Do things for yourself that are coping until you get through it, because those moments that you're down is when you're more susceptible to something evil or negative attaching itself. Now, the 2 of us are dealing with more occasions where that might happen, but like Michael said, he's operating on a higher frequency because he's dealing with it on a daily basis. Not everyone is going to understand that, because they might not even understand what a higher frequency means, but it starts with you. Like, you can't change anything out here. You can only change this. So we want to do things that are positive. We want to express ourselves. We want to check our chakras. I'm all about our chakras, and make sure that everything within ourselves is operating in a positive way. Like, are you not feeling well, and why are you? Because out here is where it starts, and then it attaches itself to you. So why are you maybe getting sick, having an ailment? Check what you're eating. Check what, are you missing some kind of vitamin? Spend time in hopefully the sun's going to be coming out. Tomorrow's the first day of spring. I mean, I'm ready for that. In New York here, oh my God, 34 degrees. I walk outside, it's 27 degrees. I walk outside, it's icy. I'm done with it. Oh, we have a comment. Let's see. Left
Well,
Suzanne.
and I think that's one thing too. Suzanne, what's up, Suzanne?
Yeah, that is such great info. Suzanne doesn't miss a show. That is such great information. I agree to keep your energy high and be mindful of who you're surrounding yourself by. This is what I've been doing. So great. Everyone needs to hear what you are saying. There you go. Suzanne's attending a live event. She's going to be attending in a second.
I think one of the things we have to be very mindful of is trying to allow our soul to harness the body and not allow the body to harness the soul, and that's a process that can take some time for anyone. And if we look at it as the body in and of itself is primitive, where the body is approaching things from survival and reproduction, really that's the body's function, survival and reproduction. When we're looking at it from a soul level, and we want the soul to harness the body, it's going to be for growth, for coming from a place of love, trying to bring harmony into the situations and the circumstances that we're a part of. So I think that's one thing, is do what you can do to try to allow your soul, the soul's energy, to harness the energy of the body rather than the body harnessing the energy of the soul. And that's a process, but it's a process that we can all navigate, and we can all navigate to a way where we're living in that soul energy, that energy of love. And that's the thing, as a medium, I think a lot of people, when they start doing this work, because we start out with psychic, we're building on, like my mediumship, it's being built upon psychic energy. It's being built upon our intuition, develop that into the psychic energy. And then that's the foundation of mediumship. But in that process, what you want to do is go into that cohesion between the heart and the mind. And we literally let go of the mind. So in true, I would say, high divine work of mediumship, it's all being done from the space of the heart. It's all being done from a place of love. And we're connecting to loved ones in spirit on a soul level. And the soul, the energetic center, is the heart. And the heart is what allows that divine connection to take place. But I think when we start out, we could still be functioning from a mental place. We could still be functioning from the mind, but it's allowing ourselves to let go of the mind and go into that heart space and allow that energy of love to transcend any human condition. And then we're connecting on a soul to soul level. And that's where the true mediumship occurs. So it's a process. And one thing that can get us there, or we can help utilize us as a stepping stone, are creative endeavors. And whatever that may be to you, for me, that's creating music. For someone else, it might be drawing some kind of art, whether that's nature or some kind of creative fantasy, or someone else like you, Mary, writing a book. Writing a book is also very creative. Even like architects designing a new structure, or someone, crafting. If we can allow the creative mind to flourish, that absolutely pulls us into our heart space. And I think that's a stepping stone to allowing our soul to speak. And especially when we're divinely channeling. Like for me, most of the music I'm writing now is divinely channeled. So some of it, I don't even know what I'm writing till I'm done writing it. And I say divine inspiration is probably, in this process of allowing your soul to unfold, is probably the closest thing we can allow to happen to allow that divine connection in and to flow through us.
Before we get on to our topic, otherworldly beings, I just want to circle back to our event. What is going to happen at this event, everyone? I'm just going to give you a reminder. Okay. So
just come. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, no. Well, we know that. We know that it's going to be awesome. So what exactly is our event going to be about on April 2nd? Well, it's in this beautiful theater, and Michael's gone, but that's okay. I'm going to keep
Did I cut
going.
out?
Yes.
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah. You're the invisible man.
All right, Mary, you're taking over while I log out and log back in. That is
all right.
bizarre.
Okay. So what is our event going to be all about on April 2nd? It's at the Manor Club in Pelham, New York. And it's in a beautiful theater. It's an old building. And we're going to have refreshments. And Michael and I are going to be on the stage. And we are going to be sharing with you an evening of psychic abilities, which is going to include, I'm going to start with a visualization. And I'm going to relax everyone. And we are going to tune into our hearts. And I'm going to give a meditation visualization. And then we are going to talk about, there Michael is. Then we're going to talk about our psychic abilities and how we'll give some demonstrations. We'll help everyone in the audience to try to figure out if they can connect. What is your primary psychic ability, which is your clairsenses? Are you clairvoyant? Are you claircognizant? Are you clairaudient? Are you hearing from another location? It's a knowing. When you're gone again.
Not like me tonight. Am I gone again?
No.
I'm here.
This is a whole night. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're going to speak about clairvoyance, clairaudient. Suzanne, I can't wait to come. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. I'm spreading the word. That's awesome. And we are going to then be doing readings from the audience. We're going to tune into the audience. We're going to connect. Michael's going to be doing a mediumship gallery. I'm going to be bringing people onto the stage and giving them a psychic reading. And we are going to have a meet and greet afterwards, and you can come ask us questions. And it's just going to be a very powerful, exciting evening. Here he's back. So, Michael, why don't you share what your expectations are for April 2nd? I just told what I believe we're going to be doing. It's your turn before you go again.
I think we're going to let everyone see firsthand what we do at this show. I think that's the easiest way to put it. We're going to take everyone through a group meditation and aligning everyone's energetic system, aligning the body with the soul into this harmonic resonance. So you can be open to tune into what Mary's going to be doing as far as her psychic intuitive work, and then allowing me to pull in our collective so I can connect in the best way possible to your loved ones and bring through as validating evidential messages like in the mediumship gallery. So it's going to be a little bit of everything that you see us doing here, and you get to experience the energy of it firsthand, which it's cool seeing it on Zoom or here on a podcast. But I think when you experience it firsthand and we have that collective energy all blending together and we have a large group, it really heightens everyone's awareness and it lifts the vibration, into this stratosphere. And it's just such a beautiful thing when we all connect on this energetic level. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's fun. I can tell you, like, I love doing one-on-one readings. I love doing small groups, but when I do a gallery, it's just in a whole different energetic realm. And it's a beautiful thing. And I think even if you don't get a message, you could still connect and you could still pick up what's going on. And I believe spirit, even if I don't directly connect to you, I do believe spirit brings through messages that many people can take and many people can utilize into their life. And it's just a really, really powerful thing when we're in that group energy.
So recently, I've been more resonating with a connection to Archangel Michael. And I have been having some very interesting dreams because I'm listening to this frequency. And when I tune into this frequency, the sound that I hear that's in the environment, I don't really know where it's coming from. It's another dimension, I believe. I start to have, I close my eyes and I'm listening. And it's really the second I close my eyes. So I'm awake and I'm listening to this sound, this frequency, and I tune into it. And sometimes I am repeating the sound in my head. Lately, I've been remote viewing. So it's taking me to another location. Now, for years, I would remote view. It looked like an ancient land. I think it might have been from the past, and I was seeing something from the past. And many times it looked like a futuristic city or some kind of environment, landscape of a nature-esque, not a village, but this very unusual looking town that did not fit with United States or what I've experienced in my lifetime. But the last few days, I could say, I'm seeing remote viewing, and it looks like a film strip. So it's like it's showing me. It's almost like someone showing a picture. Like
Am I got?
Yeah, you are, from a camera. So they're showing me each locate. Oh, you're back. Each. This is one. This is one, and it's moving, but it's lifelike. So it has a life to it. It's not flat. I don't know what that is. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going deeper and deeper into abilities. Now, I've been specifically calling out to Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Ariel, and I've been doing that in my life multiple times a day. I've also been giving, oh, you're back. So now there are going to be 3 of you.
You're getting me in the physical there. And you're getting the essence of my soul.
That's your twin. He's staying there. I'm leaving that. Oh, I can't wait to come to your event. I'm spreading word. Oh, you're gone again. Okay.
Am I gone?
What's going on? This is so strange.
This is so weird.
Okay, so why you're doing all what you're doing, this very strange thing you're doing, I'm going to get on to otherworldly beings and entities. So otherworldly beings, what are they? They are interdimensional from a hidden reality, and they can travel instantly into the dimensional contact with us. Now, that's what we've been discussing tonight. We've been discussing how to protect yourself, how to raise your vibration. I say deep meditation. I say protect yourself with light. I say tune into your heart, understand your physical mind, heart, and spirit. I'm talking about otherworldly. Okay. So they're from a hidden reality, and they travel instantly and make dimensional from another dimension, and they make contact with humans. So we right now are living in a physical dimension of 3D. Now, there are dark entities that live in 3D and 4D, but as you raise your vibration, like we were discussing earlier, they can't touch you. You might end up operating in a 7th or a 9th dimension, and the negative entities can't touch you. Okay, they thrive on human low vibration. They thrive if you're sad, if you're angry, if you have hate. So dimensional travelers from our physical reality travel to other dimensions through consciousness, during sleep, maybe when they're awake, in a deep meditation journey to other realms, giving guidance through insight, maybe through a warning, a telepathic communication, a crossover of a channel, astral projection, out of body experiences. Like I said, through sound, I traveled. physical, and then maybe through an outline, you see physical, you have experience of physical sensation, and these might include encounters, paranormal experiences, ghosts, spirits, angels, extraterrestrials, UFOs, creatures, inner earth beings, things that live in the forest. Now, Michael and I both travel, I guess you could say, instantly to another dimension that we're receiving information. I am clairvoyant, so I see in my third eye, and I've had experiences where extraterrestrials have communicated with me, and I can see them like they're right here, someplace in my being, and they're transmitting to me. Like I just explained my dreams. I can remote view, but they're not dreams. I'm awake. I close my eyes and I'll remote view, or I will travel to another dimension when I give a healing or a clearing during a remote healing. Now, Michael can explain to you where he's going and where he's receiving his connection to the afterlife or the crossover or whatever way he would like to describe it.
Yeah, well, I think to easily explain otherworldly beings, any entity that exists outside of our natural and physical realm that we are in here, this natural and physical world that we're in. My first experience was when I was roughly 8 years old, experiencing another worldly energy was my guardian angel. When I had my near-death experience and I felt wrapped in the orb of golden white light and heard that androgynous voice of "you'll be okay," and kind of guided me through that near-death experience. So that was one of the first really personal encounters outside of mediumship, where I would see spirit that wasn't of this dimension, that was of another dimension. When I saw, deceased humans that had lost their physical body, but their energy was still coming through and I was connecting to that. So that was the first two examples, that really opened my eyes to these otherworldly things or otherworldly realms that exist around us. So yeah, I would say my guardian angel, and experiencing a man that worked on the railroad behind my house that was killed, and for some reason he wanted to connect to me on my property, my parents' first property. So that was two of my earliest experiences with otherworldly beings.
I experienced, and I've said before, angels when I was 2, and I was giving up on this world because I saw these angels. And so I had a calmness, and then I stopped screaming during a near-death experience. I know that I traveled again when I was 6 and I was drowning in Cape Cod. I jumped off a raft and my father fell asleep on the beach, and it was too deep for me and I wasn't able to swim and I was drowning. And he said, he always said after that I was on my last breath. And then I had this fixation on death after that, because I thought I'm supposed to die. This was now 2 times. And the 2-year-old, I didn't really remember. I knew something was different about me. And I just kind of took it as, maybe for me, it was like, not a punishment, but something that it was my fault. But when it comes to angels, like Michael has an experience with angels, I wholeheartedly, that's one thing that I've always, my entire life, not consumed by it, but it's just part of on again.
All right, let me hop back on.
Oh my goodness. So about entities. So why am I telling everyone about entities, and why am I sharing this information about otherworldly beings? Well, it's fascinating, yes, but also all of this can help you tune into more about your intuition. It can give you warnings. It can help you in your everyday life. Maybe there's messages, we speak of the angels. Maybe there's guidance that you're going to receive from an angel. It might be that you're needing some kind of support. And then on the other end of the spectrum, if we want to talk about something dark, maybe it's about someone you're around and they're not
Did I cut out again?
Oh my goodness.
Did I cut out again?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna disconnect my stream to my personal Facebook page. So
Okay.
anyone that's listening, just tell them to go to the Two Psychics page.
Okay, so everyone out there, he's having technical difficulties. If you would like to listen, go to the Two Psychics podcast page. All right, so how are we going to connect to our psychic abilities? I'd like to get into that right now. Well, we're going to start by freeing our mind of distractions. We're going to push away any doubt. We're going to tune into our heart. Like I say, we're going to put all of our weight on our bottom. And we are going to allow ourselves to embrace everything about us. We are special, beautiful beings of light. And we are entitled to be happy and content in our lives. And by tuning into your intuition, you are accepting yourself. I'm just speaking about our intuitive abilities and how
let's hope that does it. But next week, and it's funny, as I was setting all my stuff up and was looking at camera angles, unfortunately, the whole area of my office that you could see with my, my webcam, it's just a horrible background. It's like I have stuff everywhere right now. I'm resituating the whole office. So next week, hopefully I will eliminate this problem and we'll be able to stream everywhere and we won't have this technical glitch.
So remind everyone for next week, which is the last show we have before our event, we have Michael Phillips, who's an MIT graduate. He's a master healer and miracle technologist. I'm excited to meet him. I think he's going to be sharing some very thought-provoking information. So Michael, if you were going to give people some direction about tuning into their intuitive abilities, we are going to be talking about that at the event, April 2nd at the Manor Club in Pelham, New York. What would you suggest? You have been someone who's really been working at your craft because you had a school and you had teachers there and you've learned how to tune into your psychic abilities. If someone was thinking about doing it, what would you suggest?
The first thing is we can't overthink it. A lot of times people get caught up in their head. How should I do this? What's the process? And we get so caught up in the processes and procedures of it that we lose that natural flow. And it's a natural flow state. So a couple things, if we're talking about intuition and otherworldly beings, like say we're trying to channel information or guidance from an ascended master, from our angels, from the saints, from loved ones in spirit, we have to get into that flow state. So whether that's, breathing, focusing on your breath and allowing the analytical mind to quiet down, allowing that left brain to quiet down, and we go more into that right brain flow. So breath work, if you're finding it hard, even breathing and a lot of, analytical information keeps coming into your mind and you have these thoughts, these intrusive thoughts, what the Buddhist monks call the monkey mind. If the monkey mind keeps creeping up, you can always try binaural beats, hemisync. That's something that will naturally start to align and tune the body, and it can put us into that trance state. But you need to get into that trance flow state. So whatever it is, meditation, breath work, hemisync, art, music, any type of creative endeavor, those things are going to allow the analytical mind to quiet down and for us to tune into that subtle energy flow that's around us, that's in us. And that's where we want to connect. Sometimes it's so subtle that we discredit it. A lot of times when people start on this journey, they think that this loud voice is going to be yelling into their ear. Well, it's not like that. It's a very subtle, quiet energy that just kind of flows in. So we have to be very mindful and very aware of that. The more we're overthinking it and we're trying to analyze it, well, that's pulling us into the left brain. and that's going to start blocking it out, or we're not going to hear it as clearly. So for me, I can tell you, when I was really challenging myself and I was like, all right, I'm going to go into the noisiest, most obtrusive situation, which was going into Manhattan, doing readings in Manhattan. So there was several wellness fairs I would do, and there was a couple shops that I would work out of in Manhattan. And I would literally find myself doing breath work, even as I was driving in traffic, where, not that you want to get into this crazy altered state of consciousness while you're driving, but you could start calming down with breath work. You could start aligning the chakra system through breath work, just through visualization. So a lot of these very simple processes can bring in that fundamental grounding and balance that we need to build off of. So that's what I would say. Some type of breath work, meditation, creative endeavor that can just allow you to get into that cycle of letting the energy flow. That's probably one of the most powerful things we can initially do. And then you build upon that and you find your own techniques and your own processes that work.
Yeah, I do agree, your own, because each of us are going to have our own way of getting there.
Yeah.
I have mentioned tonight intuition. So what is that exactly? Well, that's someplace inside of you. You have a hunch, you have a knowing, and it's about really saying, all right, I'm not going to have any proof. It's okay. It doesn't matter if anyone believes me. It doesn't matter about anyone's opinion out here. I have to accept myself. I have to allow myself to trust. And it's about embracing a trust,
And
a
that's a
love
great word, trust. Yeah,
yes.
trusting it. That's very powerful.
For loving yourself for everything, because if you go down this journey, this path of your intuition, some kind of ability, it's going to be a bumpy road, because you're not going to have all these people around you on average necessarily saying what you're seeing and what you're healing is true, because they're not having that experience. So what you have to do is you have to trust your own senses. And those senses are going to come through with your hearing, with your seeing, with your feeling, with your knowing. And the more that you embrace this, the more that you accept whatever you're seeing, hearing, feeling, maybe it's going to come through and you're going to start, like Michael mentioned, art. You're going to start painting, or it's going to come through in writing, or it's going to come through in an expression of a verbal expression. You're going to start talking about it. I've met many channelers, and they're connecting to another consciousness, someone, a spirit guide, and it's channeling through them. And there's no proof of that. You're gone, Michael. And it's just funny.
I'm gone again. All right.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm so sorry this is happening. I'll see you in a minute. So our intuition, our trust that we have is going to help us. Any trust that you have for yourself, compassion for yourself, love for yourself is going to lift you up in this process. When I said to myself, oh yeah, I don't know, I can't see this. What are people going to think? The more that I worried about that, then the less I got to it, the less that I connected. So I would say another positive way of connecting to your intuitive abilities would be to allow yourself to be around other people that have them, or maybe go to a class, read a book about it, watch a show about it, go to a fair if it's resonating with you. And that's one of the topics we're going to have on our wonderful evening, April 2nd. Up, you're gone.
Cut out again. Yeah. I'm gone. Oh man! All right.
Everyone, this is a test show. Episode 85 is a test. That's okay. Otherworldly beings. Okay. So let me just say, beyond the physical world, otherworldly realms exist. Other than this realm, that it's not that ordinary. Through portals lie powerful energy which offers guidance and wisdom, and that's what I'm referring to. I speak to otherworldly beings. They telepathically communicate to me, and some of them I haven't been able to understand because I'm not operating on the same frequency. Otherworldly realms are spiritual, mystical, and then there are paranormal otherworldly realms.
Technology is not my friend tonight. I apologize.
It's okay. An unearthly supernatural realm is the opposite of possession and wealth, more connected to spiritual beings. So what I'm trying to say is something that's a negative paranormal realm is going to be the opposite of the beautiful heavenly angelic realm that we mentioned earlier. And there are also multidimensional entities. Now, lately, I've been watching a lot of podcasts and watching a lot of other people that are speaking about intuitive abilities or entities, and they're talking about these interdimensional beings and how they travel instantly. It's not a long distance to wherever they are. Like, I don't know where the angelic realm exists. We go like this, like it's up here, but I don't know where it exists.
Yeah, and it is. It's interdimensional, and it's the process faster than the speed of light. So it's the thought, the process of that thought process, which is quicker than the speed of light, and it happens in an instant. So that's basically how mediumship works. So it's faster than what could possibly exist in this earthly realm. And what we know as the speed of light being the fastest, the fastest energetic connection. Well, the energy of thought is even faster than that. And I think that's where it's almost in that process that we'll start to open and learn from of where this interdimensional travel is coming from. But that's pretty much what it is. As a medium, it's an interdimensional communication. So it's not like heaven is this far away, distant place. This dimension is right here. It's all, if anyone's familiar with string theory, of all these energetic strings cycled together, and it's just a different, it's basically just a different angle of the same energetic pattern. It's a different string intertwined on the same energetic connection. I guess that's one way of looking at the process of thought, the power of thought, that energetic connection of thought. It's faster than the speed of light. So, and one thing I'd like to mention too, since we're talking of otherworldly beings, if you're trying to channel and you're trying to, connect. So the first thing you want to do though, before you're doing that, is definitely get your energy straight. Make sure you understand your body's energy. You don't want to just go, hey, I'm learning this. I don't know anything about psychic abilities. I don't know anything about mediumship or energy, and I'm just going to jump into trance. That would be one of the most idiotic things anybody could do. And I've seen people do that, and it turns out to be very disastrous. And if you want to say, well, how could like some evil entity or demon attach? Well, there you go. That would be it. So learn the processes, learn your energetic process in that your body needs to tune into. Learn the energetic patterns, processes, and procedures of your soul, and work on that. Understand the energy internally and externally. Build upon your psychic abilities. Get really, really tuned in and really developed in those realms. Start to work on, your mediumship realms. Really get your energy tuned in. And then you could start working on transcendental meditation. And then, that could start opening it. And then you can go into a trance energetic cycle where you're channeling. And that's where you really need to understand your own energy. And you need to be really grounded. You need to be really balanced. Otherwise, wacky stuff can happen. But I can tell you, once you get to that point and you're doing that, you want to absolutely journal and take notes to what that energetic journey was for you. Because I can tell you, it's not something I talk about a lot, but looking into my own energetic patterns and my own trance meditations that I would do, where I'm trying to connect and see who my guides are, who are the ascended masters that are downloading information to me. And that's a process. It's a very personal journey that we all need to go on to learn more about ourselves, you know, who's downloading insight and guidance to us. But in that process, a name may come to you and you may be like, this is crazy. Like, what is this? And journal it. You know, I've had many. So with my own guides, and, you know, it's not something that I've talked about very prevalently, because I think it's a very personal journey that we each go on. I don't necessarily know if it would be right for someone else to take you on that journey. Someone can open you up to that and teach you about it, but it's truly your own journey when you're finding who your ascended masters are that you're connected to, who are the angels that are connected to you, you know, who are your guides. And in my journey, I would write down certain names and I would be like, I'm hearing just utter nonsense. This doesn't mean anything to me. But then all of a sudden I do it a few times and I'm connecting to that name, and I start seeing who I'm connecting to and I start learning more about them. But I would journal it. And then I would find that, oh, wow, here I am. I'm connecting to, you know, like a 5th century monk that did this, or I'm connecting to an early pioneer that, you know, that was an architect, and, you know, all these different things. And if I didn't journal it and write it down and kind of track it so I could research that against what I thought I was receiving, I may have been completely lost in this spiral of just guessing, of thinking, oh, this is just my mind giving me a name. But no, there were names that came to me of people I was connecting to that absolutely existed. And when I connected to them, the insight and guidance that was coming to me were specialties and not pieces of knowledge that they were very advanced in. And it made sense then why they were connecting to me at that moment in time, depending on what I was navigating in my own life. So I absolutely would recommend journaling. You know, keep a diary, journal who you feel you're connecting to, or what the name is, what is the essence of their being, what is their personality, what are their, you know, what are the powerful energetic connections and skills and knowledge and wisdom and guidance that they're trying to imprint on you. And that could be what they did while they were here in this physical realm, because the ascended masters all walked on this earth, and, you know, that's one part of it. So they have knowledge, wisdom, and guidance from their earthly experience that they can help imprint onto us for our own guidance, knowledge, and wisdom moving forward in any circumstance. So definitely journal, keep a diary, write the weird, crazy name that you think makes absolutely no sense. And I guarantee when you start researching it and who was this person, who was I just connecting to, or who was I channeling, it can show you a lot. And then there may be, you know, people now channel, you know, interstellar beings, extraterrestrials, stuff from other dimensions, interdimensional beings. You want to research that and you want to write it down and see, you know, has someone else connected to what is this, or who is this, or what are the possibilities around this name? And ask, you know, that's the other thing too, is ask them questions and what comes to you, because you may get downloads and you may start to see a star system, or you may start to see certain names and certain pieces of information that in this moment mean nothing to you.
You're gone. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to take over. Okay, so what he just said I loved, because I realized, you know, I've done some reflection because I'm writing about my journey in my book, and I realized that what I needed, what I learned about was specifically tailored to me. And when I needed the next bit of information, something else came through. When I was asking without speaking out loud a question, then the information came. I was just saying that I appreciate what you just said, because everyone's journey is going to be different and they're going to receive information that's tailored for them. So when I was deciding that I was going to pursue, you're done. We're going to probably end pretty soon. When I was deciding in 2015, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to become an intuitive. And I didn't accept it at first. I was scared of it. I was gun shy. I was embarrassed even. I thought, I don't know if I want to do this because it's kind of embarrassing. Are people going to think that I'm silly? Are they going to take me seriously? That's why I went under the name Blue Butterfly, and I wrote a book under the name Blue Butterfly. But what ended up happening was it was like all of this information and these abilities started coming forward, and I couldn't help but accept them and keep learning and keep learning. And there has been moments of standstill. And I said, what's going on right now? And I'm supposed to work on whatever I'm doing at that moment. It's not going to be progress, progress, progress. You have to learn. You have to understand, we said energy. You have to understand your environment. You have to understand yourself. You have to be knowledgeable enough that if something negative does come to you, you will know how to handle it. And then if you don't, you'll learn, and then you'll move forward and you'll grow. And there's definitely a learning curve. I mean, you're not necessarily going to be born knowing how to handle this, because there's a lot of ins and outs of it. And
well,
I mean,
that's one thing too. So everything has a different vibration and frequency. So darker energy. So like, I'll just give you an example. So our loved ones in spirit versus an ascended master versus an angel versus a demon versus a ghost versus all these different otherworldly beings have a different frequency and vibration. So I immediately know what's the type of thing I'm connecting to, or what am I coming in contact with in this environment, in this place, in this trance, because I could feel and sense the energy and the vibration around it. So that's the thing. The more we learn and we grow with this, the more of an understanding and a discernment we have to who, what, where, when we're connecting. So it's very important to have that information and have that knowledge of the energy, frequency, and vibration of otherworldly beings, because they all have a different vibration. So you kind of know, is something trying to be deceptive and infiltrate, and are we vibrating at a very high level that we know this stuff isn't going to permeate our energetic field? But it all has a different energy, frequency, and vibration.
Yes, exactly. We have another comment. Let's see who's writing a comment. Suzanne, what questions would you ask, or what would they want if they came through someone from a different realm? If they came through, what would you ask them? Well, for me, I'll answer that, and then you can answer it, Michael. Mm-hmm. So the question is, what question would you ask, or what would they want? So for me, what I've learned is sometimes most of the time, I'm connecting, or they're connecting with me because they want to tell me something, and I'm supposed to then relay the information, or the information is for me. I don't really ask questions. For me, the transmission is I'm really receiving, because they came to me. I'm not calling out and they're coming to me. I've just had experiences, and then I'm receiving information. I don't know if it's the same for you, Michael.
Yeah. So now what you would want to do is take that to the next step, where you're having a dialogue with them. So like, I'll give you an example. When I first started doing mediumship, so as a young child, when I was having these experiences, I didn't realize that I could create a whole language and a whole dialect to communicate with them and get insight and guidance beyond what they were just imprinting on me. So I had to learn. So the initial thing was connecting to, say, I'm doing a mediumship session and I'm connecting to someone's loved one, whether that's mom, dad, brother, sister, child, friend. For me, it's name, rank, and serial number. And that's always the first thing is, who are you? What are you? And why are you here? What information are you giving me? Name, rank, and serial number. And I do believe that they want to communicate with us as much as we want to communicate with them. So I do believe they want us to understand that we can communicate and have a language, and it's a language of energy. So it's not going to be like you and I having this discussion, even though we may clairaudiently, when we get to a point, hear it almost as that, but it's a language of energy. So initially, name, rank, and serial number. So someone's loved one comes to me, I've developed a language where I know if it's connected, if it's your dad or it's connected to your father, it's going to come in at like a 90-degree angle. The male energy is going to come into my left side. The female energy that's above you is going to come into my right side at a higher angle. And coming in at a higher angle, I know in the human hierarchy, that was higher up than you. So that was mom, dad. Now, if it comes in almost parallel to me, and it comes in like through my center, and you know, it comes in like a parallel, but it comes in more to one side than the other, I'll know that could be, you know, an aunt that's connected to mom, or it could be, you know, it depends. Like, I've developed an energetic language that they come at me on a certain side of my body. I get a certain sensation and feeling, and that helps me immediately identify who they are. A child. So if a child, if I'm sitting, because I sit with a lot of bereaved parents, I immediately know that their child's energy is stepping in. If it kind of swoops up on me, and it almost comes up through it'll almost come up into my heart chakra, you know, but it comes in almost like a lower angle, and almost like a wave, like this energetic wave comes to me. And usually if it comes to me more on my right side, it's female energy. So I'll feel it more swooping up on me on my right side for female energy. So I know that was the sitter's daughter. Or if it swoops up on my left side, because that's more male dominant energy, and it's also connected to dad, and it swoops up, I'll know that was your son. So the spirit realm has worked out a feeling of sensations of you know, energy, frequency, and vibration. This would be almost like frequency and vibration through my body to let me know who they are. And then it's name, rank, and serial number. You know, who were you? You know, like, what was your name? Give me dates. What was significant date around you and the sitter? You know, maybe your birthday, maybe the day you passed, maybe a date that just, you know, their birthday that just passed, that they were trying to connect to you. They'll bring through very specific pieces of evidence so we can identify, okay, this is who they were. And then, you know, then it goes into like, why did you pass? And they'll start showing me things around. I may start to get sensations in my body that show me different things of how they passed. So it's a whole process of communication that I've developed. And when I first started doing this, I had no idea I could develop this language, this energetic language, and really have a two-way dialogue. You know, it was something that I had to learn and grow into. But now that I've done that for, you know, 15 plus years, it's the most powerful thing that someone could do, trying to bring through the evidence and really bring through pieces of information that are crucial to your sitter moving forward, and knowing that the soul exists beyond the death of the body. You know, so now a different thing with an ascended master. So I'll give you an example. So there's times in my life where I was navigating a certain situation, and I would go into deep meditation, and I would connect with my guides. And this is when I didn't know who all my guides were. And I do believe, even if we have established guides, in certain situations, a new guide can come in. We can align with a new guide. We can receive a new channel of information. And I do believe that's something throughout this life. It's always something more we can develop, or something more we can have that connection with. And I was going through a really, really weird situation with you know, like a life situation, and there was some different friends involved, and there was some different stuff around my business, and I was just channeling, and I was like, I need guidance and wisdom around this and how to handle this situation, you know, and I want to try to handle it in the best way. And I knew I needed to make some very hard decisions, and I needed to cut some ties. So I put out there what my feelings and the goals were to this link in this communication, and what type of guidance and insight I wanted. And then I started receiving the download. So the first night I started doing it, I actually connected, and I was like, who am I connect? This is weird. And so this is going to sound a little crazy to some people. They might go, Mike's crazy, but I'm telling you, this is absolutely a thing. This is absolutely ways we get insight and guidance. But I connected to ancient philosopher Socrates. So Socrates is and still is one of my guides. So one of the ascended masters that I connect to is Socrates. And he started showing me principles and philosophies around relationships, and around like managing and trying to guide other people and how they can positively and negatively affect you. And it was weird because, you know, I had studied philosophy growing up and, you know, going to college for, you know, studying psychology, you know, and I do have a psychology degree. It brought me back to moments of my study and my learning. And it was like, wow, you know, I haven't thought about this stuff in, you know, 10, 15 years. And he started bringing me to pieces of knowledge that I already came across, but he brought me back to it to instill guidance and insight to revisit that, approach things in this way. And it was funny because the first day I was doing it, I'm like, oh man, is this like, am I reliving something? Is this my subconscious bringing me back to those moments? And I'm thinking I'm connecting to Socrates. So I needed guidance and insight, and I needed signs and validation that this is you and I'm connecting to you. And over that whole week, I had such crazy stuff. So I'll tell you the first thing that happened to me when I connected to Socrates. Now, I moved from my family's house to you know, a couple other locations, and I was in the house that I live in now. And I had all kinds of stuff packed up, and some of my college books I had saved. And sure enough, I have no idea how I came across it, because I was looking for something else. I was downstairs and I was looking for some different pieces of music equipment that I had stored away. And somehow with my music equipment were my college books, and sitting right on the top of the one box was my memoirs from Socrates. And I was like, are you kidding me? I don't remember this book even sitting here or being on top or even having it near my music equipment. And I'm coming across it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm meant to revisit this book, you know, and it was a smaller, you know, it wasn't like a big textbook. It was a smaller, you know, it was just a smaller paperback, and you know, a lot of Socrates' philosophies and his insight. And I started flipping through it, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is showing me a lot of insight and guidance around the question I was just asking. And then over the next several days, I had just the craziest stuff pop up around Socrates, when I hadn't thought about or acknowledged Socrates in at least a decade. And I was like, okay, I'm getting the signs. And now if I had said this is just coincidence and I ruled it out, maybe that would have blocked out the guidance and the insight. But I was open to it. I was tuned in. I trusted, like you said earlier, you know, I trusted that information. And sure enough, in that guidance and insight, I received so much powerful information that it helped me navigate that situation I was dealing with in the best possible way. And if I had just said, oh, you know, my subconscious is bringing me the name Socrates, and it's because I studied some of his stuff in college, and oh, this is crazy. And all of a sudden the book pops up that I hadn't seen in forever. And then all of a sudden, all this other insight and guidance around Socrates, well, that was just coincidence. I probably wouldn't have opened that pathway and really connected and got that download of insight and guidance I needed. And I can tell you absolutely 100%, I saw and learned about pieces of information that I had obviously, I needed to revisit, and I revisited them, and it shifted my mindset and my approach to certain relationships and how I was going to navigate certain things in my business. And I did, and I utilized some of his techniques and some of, you know, kind of shifted my mindset and just trying to see things in a different way. And it absolutely worked out for my highest and best moving through that energetic cycle. So that's one way, is we have to align. We have to be open and receptive, trust the information. And then I think we have to, you know, in our own way, try to validate it, ask for the signs, ask for, you know, guidance in a way that there's no doubt in my mind that I'm connecting to you and you're imprinting this on me to move forward in this way. You know, we double check it. And, you know, there were things that I literally journaled and wrote down, and I wrote down a lot of what my mindset was. And then after connecting what I thought my mindset should be, and I read both, and I, you know, I looked at both perspectives, and I said, wow, I can really take something from this. And it shifted my mindset in a way, again, that moved me through this energetic situation in the best way possible.
I think what you're saying is basically you accepted. When you accepted that this was Socrates, then it helped you. And that's really what it is. It's about trust, acceptance, embracing, and you will receive more and more information. And you ask. If you ask, you shall receive. And that's what I've learned during my journey is the more that I ask, then the more I receive. And it's right for me. It's how I receive. Like initially when I was doing psychic readings and I met you, Michael, I was receiving I was receiving information by tuning into someone's heart. And that's how I would receive it. And that was the beginning. And that's maybe where I needed to be because I was empathic and that's all I knew. But then as it became broader and I was more accepting, I was more trusting, I was more observing and then learning my way. Like there were things that I did that just came natural to me. I don't know. No one ever taught me. When I do a healing and a clearing on someone remotely, I just knew how to do it. So
and that's the most powerful thing.
Told me. No one told me.
And
that's what
when it comes to you naturally, that's usually going to be the most powerful learning tool, and you build upon that. Too many people put all the emphasis on, I learned this out of this book, or I learned this from this person. But again, like what you just said, what is naturally coming to you? Because I can tell you 75% of this journey was my own personal journey, where it was how was I being led and guided through this information, through this insight, through my psychic abilities. It was my own process, and it wasn't until I understood that I started looking at other people's processes and other people's teachings.
So before we go, I just want to say, what we're saying right now is you're going to have your way of learning your abilities. It's going to come naturally to you. Yes, you can get like, okay, we're giving our suggestions or what happened to us, but that does not mean that's how it's going to go for you. But if you pursue it and you trust and you accept and you embrace it and you say, okay, I'm going to, maybe I don't have to go share it with the world what I'm doing. I'll do it on my own on the side here. And you start to really tune in. It's going to help you in life. It's not just about becoming a psychic or a medium or healer or a channeler or one of these modalities. It could help you in problem solving. It could help you in bringing opportunities into your life. It could kickstart something that you weren't doing in interest because you're embracing and accepting yourself. Okay, so we're going to probably go now because it's been technology crazy tonight. Now, I just want to remind everyone. So next week we have episode 86. It's going to be again at 7:30. We're not going to have the off and on here. We're going to fully be here. There's no invisible man. And we're going to bring out our guest, Brett Michael Phillips, an MIT graduate. That's March 26th. Now, the following Thursday is our big event at the Manor Club. Please join us. You can buy tickets on thestage.com. You can go to my Facebook page, my TikTok page, Michael's Facebook page, Two Psychics Podcast Facebook page, my Instagram.
And I'd like to interject for a second. I do have a TikTok. I do have a TikTok page now that I just started. My technically challenged self. I do have a TikTok page. I do have an Instagram page, and I do have a YouTube page. So if you want to check those out, give me a like and follow because I have no friends on any of that.
Well, you know what? It starts
I'd love
somewhere.
for you to join me.
And who knows? Maybe we'll get someone who will promote us. There you go.
I'm disappearing.
I also want to, remind everyone, Michael Edley, you can reach him at eyeofthespirits.com. You can reach, and you can go to one of his events. You can contact him for a mediumship reading. He does group events down the shore. He has one coming up if you'd like to meet him in person. It's April 24th. It's in Manahawkin, New Jersey. And it's at 6:30, and it's with Hannah Mary. And I believe she does another modality. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm not quite sure, but it's a gallery reading. Now you can also, where is he? I was just talking about your Manahawkin, New Jersey. Oh, you still are on the other podcast. On the other, so you can reach him on eyeofthespirits.com. He has this upcoming event, April 24th in Manahawkin, New Jersey. You can meet both of us either on April 2nd in Pelham, New York at the Manor Club, 7 to 9:30, or you can meet us both in the Blues Expo in April 18th, 2026. So
I'm going to stay with you in voice.
Wait, there's more people writing comments. Let's see. Grace wrote, "Welcome to TikTok." Hi, Grace. Thanks for letting us post on your podcast. I'm going to be on a podcast Tuesday. I don't know when they're going to put it up, so I'm not going to mention that right now. And then Suzanne says, "Such positive information. Great show. See you in Pelham. I can't wait." So everyone out there, I guess Michael is gone again. I'm so sorry. This has been techno crazy. Hi, Grace. Hello. Yeah, you can find Grace at Gracepiration. Grace had Michael on her podcast the other day. You can find it on YouTube, gracepiration.com. And Grace was on our show last week, and it was a lovely show. We had Stacy and Grace. Thank you, Grace, for joining us tonight.
What is up, Grace?
Okay, so Michael, it was great talking to you. I'm excited for the upcoming evening.
While I was here?
Yeah, while you were here. And we'll do some kind of practice in the next week, right?
We will. Yeah, we're going to be doing a quick run through. Quick run through of our whole event, which is going to be exciting. But yes, everyone has to come out and see us April 2nd, Pelham Manor. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great night.
I hope you're coming, Grace. I hope we see you and Stacy, if you're going to make it to New York. I know you're in Jersey. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. You can find this on YouTube. The audio recording is going to be on Spreaker, and please write comments and like our page, and sending love and light to everyone. Bye.
Good night.
Oh, she's going to be there, she says. Grace.
All right.
Yay, Grace. Thank you, Grace. Bye.